Hello everyone. In this section I will discuss about the gross features of submandibular region. Here I will be discussing the features of the submandibular salivary gland, sublingual gland and the histology of the salivary glands. Here you are seeing this the floor of the mouth. Okay, this is the floor of the mouth, antero-inferior view. That is the anterior inferior view. This is the mandible bone. Okay, here you can see this is the hyoid bone, inferiorly hyoid bone. This is the body of the mandible. This one is the ramus of the mandible. This is the upper border. This is the lower border, the lower border. So the inferior of the mandible, okay, the part which lies inferior of the mandible towards this hyoid bone, this is the submandibular region. This is the submandibular region. Okay, here you can see some muscles attached to this hyoid bone, okay, from this mandible. Okay, some is from the mandible, some from the styloglossus. Okay, which are muscles attached to this above to the hyoid bone that forms the suprahyoid muscles. So here you can see the suprahyoid muscle. This is the mylohyoid muscle. That is the mylohyoid muscle. See, it extends both sides. This is from this one left side, this is from the right side. This is a mylohyoid muscle. Also here you can see this is the digastric muscle. Anterior belly you can see, digastric muscle, posterior belly you can see, both as an intermediate tendon attached to this hyoid bone. This is the anterior belly of digastric, this one is the posterior belly of digastric. Then here you can see this muscle, this is the stylohyoid muscle. That is the stylohyoid muscle. These all are suprahyoid muscles. Okay. Then here, so this region, this is the submandibular region. This is the anterior belly of digastric. This is the posterior belly of the. This region is also called the digastric triangle. That is also called the digastric triangle. That above will get this body of the mandible. Then anteriorly, there is anterior belly of digastric. Inferiorly, there is the posterior belly of digastric. Anteriorly, anterior belly of the digastric. So this is the digastric triangle. Here we'll get the submandibular salivary gland. Here we'll get the sublingual salivary gland. Okay, so this paired salivary glands. Okay. In this figure, here you can see the posterior view of the floor of the mouth. Okay, so this is the body of the mandible, ramus of the mandible. This is the interior aspect of the mandible. This is the hyoid bone. Okay, see, this is the mylohyoid muscle, inner aspect. Okay, so this muscle, this is the geniohyoid muscle. You can see here. Here will get the submandibular fossa, a depressed area over this towards the lower aspect of this angle of the mandible. This is the submandibular fossa. Here we'll get the sublingual fossa, where lodges the sublingual salivary gland. The submandibular fossa, it lodges this one, submandibular salivary gland. See, this is the submandibular gland. Okay, see, this is the mylohyoid muscle. Okay, this one part of the submandibular gland which lies deep to the mylohyoid, that forms the deep part. The part which lies superficial to the mylohyoid, this part forms the superficial part of the submandibular gland. Okay. Here, this is the lateral view. Okay, it's anterior, it's the posterior. Part of the mandible is cut. Okay, here you can see this is the mylohyoid muscle. Mylohyoid is cut here. Part of the submandibular gland which lies superficial to the mylohyoid. This is the superficial part of the submandibular gland. This part lies deep to the mylohyoid, that forms the deep part of this submandibular gland. Say this is the sublingual salivary gland in the sublingual fossa. This is the sublingual salivary gland. Okay. Then here, so this is the superficial part, this is the deep part. Okay, this is the anterior end. This is the anterior end which relates to this muscle. This is the anterior belly of digastric. This forms the posterior end. Okay, Which surface you are seeing from here? This is the lateral surface. Below they will get, this is the inferior surface which lies inferiorly. See, part with the gland which rests over this mylohyoid muscle, that forms the medial surface. So it has two ends and three surfaces. Okay, so this is the coronal view through this submandibular gland. Okay, see, this is the part of the mandible. This is the mandibular fossa. Okay, this is the submandibular gland. Okay, this surface, this is the inferior surface. This is the medial surface. This is the posterior lateral. Okay, this is the inferior surface, relates to the skin, platysma, facial vein. Platysma is the superficial muscle of the neck. See, this is the medial surface which rests over this mylohyoid muscle. So relations are mylohyoid, nerves and vessels. Okay, this mylohyoid nerve is a branch of this inferior mandibular nerve. It's a branch of the trigeminal nerve. Okay, mylohyoid artery is branch from this one of the branches from the maxillary artery. Okay, other than that, some relations are there that I'll show next figure. Okay, so this is the medial surface. This is the inferior surface. This is the lateral surface. Lateral surface relates to the submandibular fossa. Okay. Here in this figure you are seeing this the lateral view. The anterior aspect, posterior aspect. See, this is the hyoid bone. This is the part of the mandible superiorly. This is the tongue can see. See this muscle. This is the mylohyoid muscle. Mylohyoid. This is the anterior belly of digastric. This is the posterior belly of my digastric. See, this muscle is the mylohyoid. Deep to the mylohyoid, you can see this muscle. That is the, this one is the hyoglossus muscle. Okay. See, this is the middle constructor. It's going deep to this hyoglossus. Okay. Then, here, see, this is the gland. This is the superficial part of the submandibular gland which lies superficial to this mylohyoid. This is a deep part which lies deep to this mylohyoid. This is the deep part of this gland. This is the superficial part. See, this is the anterior end which relates to this anterior belly of the digastric. See, this is the posterior end of the superficial part which relates to this facial artery. See, this relates to the facial artery. So, this is the lateral surface. Okay. So, this lateral surface. This surface, this is the medial surface. See, medial surface, it relates to this mylohyoid muscle. Then also to the hyoglossus muscle. This is the hyoglossus. Then addition to that, mylohyoid nerves and vessels. Okay. So, these are the relations of the superficial part. Then, next is the relations of the deep part. Okay. Here, this is the deep part which lies between this mylohyoid and this hyoglossus. Okay. So, deep part, medially it rests over this hyoglossus muscle, laterally this mylohyoid, above, see, this is the nerve, this is the lingual nerve, it's wrongly labeled, this is the lingual nerve. Okay, see, this suspended by a ganglion here. This is the submandibular ganglion. That is the submandibular ganglion. Above there is a lingual nerve with this ganglion. Okay, that's the relations of the deep part. Additional to that, see, from the deep part, the duct arises. Duct of this submandibular gland. That is the submandibular duct arises. Okay. Then, see here, you can see this is the anterior. This is the sublingual salivary gland. This is the sublingual gland. Okay, so this is the duct of this submandibular gland. That is the submandibular duct which arises from the deep part, runs upwards, forwards between this hyoglossus and this mylohyoid. Okay, then between this, here will get the genioglossus and here will get the sublingual gland. Then forwards between the genioglossus and sublingual gland. There some ducts joins with this submandibular duct. Some ducts of this sublingual salivary gland joins with the submandibular duct. Okay, this togetherly opens into the floor of the mouth. Okay, here you can see the inferior aspect of the tongue, floor of the mouth. as the summit of the sublingual fold. This is the sublingual fold. Here there is the sublingual papillae. There you can see the opening of the submandibular duct. Okay, towards where it opens into the sublingual papillae. Okay, so duct of the submandibular gland, so also called the Wharton's duct. Okay, so Wharton's duct is the duct of the submandibular gland, submandibular duct. Okay, we have seen the sublingual, some ducts from the sublingual gland also joins with the submandibular duct. Okay, that togetherly opens into the sublingual papillae. Okay, so which are ducts joining with this submandibular duct? Okay, those ducts of the sublingual gland are called the ducts of Bartholin. That are called the ducts of Bartholin. Some ducts of the sublingual salivary gland directly opens into the sublingual fold, this mucosa fold. You can see over there some openings of the sublingual salivary ducts. Those are called the ducts of Rivinus. So, ducts of the sublingual salivary gland which opens into the sublingual fold are called the ducts of Rivinus. These two are the ducts of the sublingual salivary gland. Okay, so Wharton's duct is the duct of the submandibular salivary gland. Wharton's duct is the average length is 5 centimeter. It arises from the deep part of the submandibular gland which runs upwards, forwards. Okay, and opens into the floor of the mouth as sublingual papillae. Then next is the relations of this hyoglossus. See here, you can see this is the lateral view, anterior aspect. This is the posterior aspect. This is the hyoid bone. Tongue can see. Here the mylohyoid, part of the mylohyoid is there. Okay, see this is the genioglossus. See this muscle, this is the hyoglossus which extends from this hyoid bone to the side of the tongue, Okay, then we'll say the relations, structures lies superficial to the hyoglossus muscle, structures lies deep to the hyoglossus muscle. So this muscle, this is the hyoglossus. Say this is the deep part of the submandibular gland with this duct of the submandibular duct. Then this submandibular ganglion. This is the lingual nerve. Okay, these are the structures which lies superficial to the hyoglossus. Structures lying deep to the hyoglossus are, see this is the middle constrictor is going deep to the hyoglossus. See this is the stylopharyngeus muscle. This is the stylopharyngeus which is going deep to the hyoglossus. Then also see second part of this lingual artery. This is the lingual artery, the second part which also lies deep to the hyoglossus. So these are the relations of the hyoglossus. Structures lies superficial to the hyoglossus and structures lies deep to the hyoglossus. Okay. So this muscle, this is the hyoglossus. Okay, structures lying superficial to the hyoglossus and structures lying deep to the hyoglossus muscle. Then here you can see this is the sublingual salivary gland. You can see here in the sublingual fossa. Here this is the sublingual salivary gland in the sublingual fossa. Okay, so here it lies, here you can see this is the mylohyoid muscle. Okay, so sublingual gland's inferior aspect you can see the mylohyoid muscle. Okay, then laterally this lateral surface relates to this sublingual fossa will be there in the interior aspect of the mandible. Okay, then behind you can see this is the submandibular duct that is in green color, and there is a nerve there that is a lingual nerve. These are the relations over the posterior aspect. Okay, so this is the sublingual salivary gland in the sublingual fossa that forms a lateral relation. Inferiorly you can see this is the mylohyoid muscle. Posteriorly you can see this is the this one, that is the submandibular duct and the lingual nerve. Okay. So that's about the sublingual salivary gland. Its weight is some 5 grams, average is 5 grams. Okay, average weight of the submandibular gland is 20 grams. Okay. The shape of this submandibular gland, see the shape, that is the J shaped. Here you can see in this figure, shape of this submandibular, it's a J shape. Okay. That's all about the gross features of this submandibular and sublingual salivary gland. Okay. Then coming to its blood supply, here you can see this artery. This is a lingual artery. Lingual artery, this is a branch of this external carotid. Okay, here that is here you can see this lingual artery. This is the sublingual artery is going here. This is a sublingual artery. So sublingual artery, through the sublingual artery, this sublingual salivary gland gets its arterial supply. Then also there is submental artery is there. Submental artery is a branch of facial artery. The submandibular salivary gland get its blood arterial supply through this submental artery and sublingual artery. Okay. Submental is a branch of this facial artery. Okay. See, this is the sublingual veins, venous drainage, sublingual veins. Okay, through this sublingual salivary gland. Okay, here you can see some deep veins there, which joins to forms the lingual vein, which finally drains into the internal jugular vein. This superficial and deep veins joins to form the lingual vein, which drains into this internal jugular vein. So venous drainage of both salivary glands, sublingual and submandibular, into this internal jugular vein. So that's about the blood supply. Then here you can see this is the nerve supply. Okay, nerve supply. Here, this is the common carotid artery. This is the external and internal carotid. Okay, so there is a plexus, nerve plexus over this external and internal carotid. Okay, that's sympathetic plexus. Okay, that is the sympathetic. It's through this gland. Okay, it's to the both the submandibular and sublingual salivary glands. Actually, this sympathetic supply, okay, the sympathetic drive reduces the salivary secretions, okay, and reduces the blood flow through the salivary gland. Okay, so nerve supply, that is autonomic, consists of sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay, then coming to this parasympathetic, okay, here you can see this is the secretomotor pathway of this glands. This is the superior salivatory nucleus, the pons. Okay, this is the facial nerve. Okay, preganglionic fibers. Okay, through the facial nerve, chorda tympani nerve, then relay synapse with this submandibular ganglion. See the submandibular ganglion. From there, postganglionic fibers arises towards this submandibular salivary gland. Okay, that is the secretomotor pathway of this submandibular gland. Then from there, the postganglionic fibers through this lingual nerve to the sublingual salivary gland. That is the parasympathetic pathway of this sublingual salivary gland. Okay. Then, so the parasympathetic stimulation produces watery secretion. Okay, and also it increases the blood flow through the gland. Okay. That's about the nerve supply. Then here you can see this is the lymphatic drainage. See the lymph nodes in the submental region, that is called the submental lymph nodes. Lingual salivary gland drains into the submental lymph nodes. Lymph nodes in the submandibular region, that is called the submandibular lymph nodes. Submandibular glands drains into the submandibular lymph nodes. Then next is the microscopic structure of this salivary glands. Here, the salivary glands, secrete saliva. It has an excretory part. It consists of secretory units. Okay, the secretory unit consists of mainly two types of acini, or the acinus, that is the serous acinus and the mucous acinus. And this secretory part supported by connective tissue, that is the fibroareolar tissue will be there. Okay, then we'll see the structure of this serous mucous acini. See, this is the acini, means round shaped secretory units. Okay, see, this is the acini of serous acini. This is the shape of the cells, pyramidal cells. See the nucleus, okay, is basophilic, round towards the base. Nucleus round towards the base. This is one asana, this is the other one. Okay. Then see, this is the cytoplasm contains numerous imaging granules will be there, which stains deeply. So that's why it appears as a deep pink in color. The serous asana appears as a deep pink in color. Nucleus, round nucleus towards the base. Okay. Then next is the mucus asana. See, this is the mucus asana. Okay, the serous asana is exactly spherical shape. Mucus asana is somewhat tubular shape. Okay, pale cells. Okay, the mucus won't take any stain. Okay, so it appears as pale in color. Okay, columnar cells. Okay, see the nucleus flat towards the periphery. Flat nucleus towards the periphery. Okay, nucleus that is basophilic. Okay, which takes blue color. Flat nucleus to the periphery. See the difference in the nucleus in this mucus and serous. Serous round nucleus to the base. This is the flat nucleus towards the periphery. See the nucleus. Okay. Then, additional to that, in submandibular gland, there you can see the serous demilunes. See, this is the mucus acini. Over there is a cap of half moon shaped serous acini. Okay, mucus with the serous cap. Okay, that's called the serous demilunes. Okay, so these are the acini you can see in this salivary glands. This is the structure of the submandibular gland. Here you can see the submandibular gland. See, it consists of numerous lobules. See the lobules, okay, separated by interlobular connective tissue. There you can see the ducts will be there. This is one lobules, okay, numerous lobules you can see. That you can see this is the mucus acini. Identify the acini. This is mucus, pale stained. This is serous which takes stain. This is serous acini, mucus acini. So submandibular, it's a mixed salivary gland. It consists of both serous and mucus acini. Okay. Additional to that acini, see this is the serous demilunes. Mucus over there is a cap of serous cells. So this is the serous demilunes. Okay. There are some small ducts inside the lobule. Those are called the intralobular duct. In between the lobules, those are called the interlobular ducts. These are the interlobular ducts between the lobules. Intralobular ducts are small ducts which line with the locoboidal to columnar, okay, with the striations. Okay, interlobular duct with the pseudostratified columnar to large ducts line with the stratified columnar or cuboidal. Okay, so that's about the structure of the submandibular gland. Here also you can see this is the submandibular gland. These are the serous acini. See, these are the mucus acini. Okay, see here you can see serous demilunes, mucus over the cap of serous. See the shape of the serous acini. Pyramidal cells, nucleus to the base, round nucleus, lumen can see. Here you see the mucus acini. Okay, columnar cells, okay, low columnar, flat nucleus towards the periphery, large lumen compared to this serous acini. Okay, see the ducts. These are the intralobular, intercalated and striated ducts which are present inside the lobules. This is one lobule, this is the other. Here we'll get the interlobular connective tissue. There we'll get the ducts, interlobular ducts. Okay. Then coming to the structure of the sublingual salivary gland. Okay, here in this section, see, this sublingual salivary gland consists of predominantly mucus cells. See, this is the mucus acini. See, mucus acini. Pyramid, low columnar cells, flat nucleus to the periphery. Okay, this is one lobule, this is the other one, this is the other one, separated by interlobular connective tissue. There you can see this is the interlobular ducts. Okay, some adipose tissue also there. These are the connective tissue. then arteries, these arteries, veins will be there. Okay. Then here you can see this is the intralobular ducts inside the lobules. So okay, sublingual salivary gland consists of predominantly mucous. Okay. Then here you can see the structure of the parotid gland. See, this is one lobule, this is other. This is the connective tissue, interlobular connective tissue. There you can see the interlobular ducts. See, these are the serous acini. Okay, pyramidal cells, nucleus to the base, cyanogen granules in there, which takes that eosinophilic stain, which gives them deep pink color. Okay, then here in some places you can see the mucous acini also, because all the salivary glands are mixed type, but this parotid gland is predominantly, it consists of serous acini. The sublingual gland or the mucous gland, which consists of predominantly mucous acini. Submandibular gland is the mixed gland, which consists of both serous and mucus. Okay, and also serous demilune also there. Okay, so that's about the structure of this salivary glands. Okay. Then, so here you should write answer for this in your assignment book. Okay, describe the salivary glands. Okay, parts and relations. Okay, parts, which are the parts of the submandibular salivary gland, that is the superficial and deep part, relations of each parts. Then Wharton's duct, that is the submandibular duct. Then blood supply of this submandibular gland, and nerve supply, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic, that is the secretomotor pathway. Okay. Then relations of this hyoglossus muscle, superficial and deep relations of this hyoglossus muscle of the tongue actually. Then next is the microscopic structure of this parotid gland. Okay, parotid gland consists of predominantly serous acini. Okay, so this secretory units are in the form of numerous lobules. Then each lobule is separated by there is connective tissue. Then its entire is supported by there is a capsule there. Okay. That's all about the submandibular region. Hope you understood. Thank you.